Okay, so what are we speaking about? This is the Dvar Malchut, a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the beginning of 1992. And this was very shortly before he had a stroke. This is like, weeks before he had a stroke. So the Rebbe is expressing like this. The month of Adar. The month of Adar is perhaps the most Jewish month of the year. Month of Adar. This is why is the month of the year? Because the month of Adar was the month that a big miracle happened. And it happened purely because of the attitude of the Jewish people. What was the big miracle? Haman wanted to destroy all the Jews. And he made a decree to kill and destroy all the Jews. And the Jews realized that they could get out of this decree by just saying that they're not Jews. And there was not one Jew that did so. And the first Rebbe of Chabad in Torah Or says there was not one Jew that even thought of doing so. And because of this, so there was a tremendous miracle. And the Jews destroyed all of their enemies. And most of the non-Jews, they decided not to fight. They weren't going to fight. And it says even more, there were a lot of the non-Jews that they converted to Judaism. Says why? Because the mazel of the Jewish of the month was determined by the self-sacrifice of the Jewish people. And that was especially determined by the fact that Moses was born in that month, the month of Adar. Moses also died in that month. Excuse me. He died in that month. But the fact is that Moses was born in that month, and all the good things that Moses did in the course of his life were due to the fact that he was born. And so therefore that overrules all the bad things. That's what Haman did. Haman threw lots wanted to know when to destroy the Jews, and the lots came out in the month of Adar. He was very happy because he knew that was the month that Moses died, but he didn't know that was the month that Moses was born. And because the existence of Moses and the Jewish people, that overrides any negative things that there are in the world. It says, therefore, the month of Adar is mazel. Mazel is powerful. Mazel means luck, but really the mazel also means like the constellations, the zodiac. But really, mazel means something much deeper than that. Mazel, the word for mazel means to drip down. The mazel is the source of the Jewish soul. And from that drips down awareness of God into the Jewish soul. It says, we can say that that's the whole idea of the mazel of the Jewish people becoming strong because Moses was born in that month, in the month of Adar, in a deeper way. Mazel, let me point, here it says. Mazel the Israel, that what it says that the Jewish people have a mazal, what do you call it? The stars are arranged, or the luck of the Jewish people. This depends on the shorish, this refers, mazel. Like we said, the word mazel means the zodiac, the configuration of the stars and the planets, and that's the mazel. But in a deeper way, the word mazel is referring to the soul of the Jewish people, the mazel of the Jewish people. This is the source of the Jewish soul. If you do it like it says, Yeridas and Neshama, that the descent of the soul below, Litlabish Baguf, to put into the body, this is just a ray of the soul alone. Ikra Neshama, the main soul, Makora, and its source, Nishar Lamata, remains above. And another name for the essence of the Jewish soul is called Mazal. That's the name of it. Adam the Isle Mazla, a person that has a Mazal. Mazal means the spiritual source of the soul. Even more than the spiritual source, the source of even the spiritual. Hakol talui b'mazal. Everything depends on mazal. Mazal means nozal, to drip down. This is the source from which nozal mimenu comes life into the world. So life is pretty amazing. Life. Everybody's alive, right? Everyone listening to this class is alive. You're alive. Think about it. Where is your life coming from? What does it mean? What is life? Well, it's consciousness. Some people say it's just like, batteries. It's just like, what is it? AI. What is it? Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. That was not a new thing. It's not a new thing. It was developed 50 billion years ago when man was created, came from a toad or whatever he came from, apes. Man came from this. The apes also had intelligence, right? So intelligence is just like, a bunch of interreactions, or is it of organic chemistry or something, reactions, and that's what makes, you can think that way if you want to. That's an option. You can think that way. But we don't think that way. We think that life is a big miracle. It's a big miracle. I mean, by the way, if you do think like that in the scientific way, so there's nothing wrong with killing somebody. It's just like turning off your computer. It's no big deal. What's wrong with that? As long as they don't do it to me, and even if they do, what do I care? What doesn't they say the SS and the Nazis? They said we're coming to kill or to be killed. We don't care. It makes no difference to us, right? It doesn't. Okay, you can think that way. You can think that way, but we're saying no, that's not so. Life is valuable, precious, infinitely precious. Human beings are infinitely precious. To save a person's life is an amazing thing. Maybe there's nothing more valuable than to saving human life. Right? Life is it's precious. Why? Why is it precious? You worked for it. You did something for it. Why is it precious? What does it mean? Everybody's alive. Nobody knows what it means. It says life is a big miracle. It's an amazing miracle. Right? And if you think into it, so maybe you start to get religious, maybe you start to get whatever it is. Einstein said that God doesn't do play dice with the world. There must be something out there, right, that's causing this whole business, that's putting order into the world, the teleological reason and the ontological reason. But it's a big mystery. So it's a big mystery. Says the Rebbe, Judaism is based on this mystery, and Judaism says that the source to this life, and the Jewish people especially, are connected to the essence source of this life, and the name of that essence source of life is called Mazal. That's what it's called, Mazal. That what the rabbis say, Ein Mazal Israel, that the Jewish people don't have Mazal. Simple meaning, the Jewish people are not under the stars. Kai, this refers to the Mazal Sasarim. It means that the Jewish people are not under another definition of Mazal, the stars, the constellations, etc. That's divided to the non-Jews. The Jewish people, they are above all this. It could be the Jewish people did all the sins in the world, God forbid. They're totally on the wrong place, and they don't deserve anything. And all the constellations say that, that's it. The Jewish people are finished. But the Jewish people are above that. The Jewish people are above that. Listen, that's how Abraham gave birth to Yitzchak. It says that Abraham could not give birth. His wife, it said, didn't even have a womb. It says in Lo Velad, he didn't have Beit Velad, he didn't have a womb. And according to the stars, there was no way that they could give birth. And it says Vayetze ato achutza, that God took him outside of the stars. And he said, look at the stars. And Rashi explains the Jewish people are above the constellations. They're above the zodiac. Even if the zodiac says clearly, 100%, without any doubt, that that's the end of the Jewish people and that they've got no chance and they don't deserve any better and they worship the golden calf and everything. It doesn't make any difference. God unconditionally loves the Jewish people. That's the mazel of the Jewish people. It says, one second, it says the Jewish people don't have a mazel. Ain't mazel, the Jewish people. It means the Jewish people are above the stars. Of Ogam Yisrael, the Jewish people do have a mazel. They do have a lucky star, if you want to call it. And what is it? It's ayin. Ayin mazel Yisrael. There is no, that's the mazel of the Jewish people. Mishar mazels. The mazel of the Jewish people is Bechinas ayin. I guess they couldn't print this. It came out weird. I don't know why. It says is ayin. That's what it is. I guess they wanted to make an aleph and then a quotation mark like this over there. Somehow they messed up. Anyway, it's ayin. Ayin, like Ein Sof. No end. Like it says, Chachma me ayin timotzei. Like it says, wisdom comes from nowhere. It's a pasuk. Where is it in Job? Wisdom comes from ayin. We don't know where it comes from. That's the source of the Jewish people. This hence that, yeah. This idea of the mazal of the Jewish people and the mazal of the month of Adar. Usually mazal means luck or the zodiac. This is stressed especially in Moses. Moses, he was born, which when Moses was born, that's essentially when the Jewish people were born. Moshe, who Yisrael, if there wasn't Moses, there wouldn't be any Jews. They would have remained in Egypt. They would have gone back to Egypt. God would have wiped them out when they worshipped the golden calf. It wasn't for Moses. Later, the birth of Moses, Moshe, Kashura im etzem amatzius, which is connected above, which is connected to God, to the essence of reality, above any name. Remember, we had the question in the beginning: why is it that in Parshas Tetzaveh Moses' name is not mentioned? Remember, that's how we started this. Why is Moses' name not appear in this week's Torah portion? Why? So we had two reasons, because that was the month that Moses died. And the other reason was because Moses said to God, wipe me out of the book. If you don't save the Jewish people after the golden calf, then wipe me out also. And God wiped them out in just this one portion. So Rebbe said, I want to give a different reason. The reason that Moses' name doesn't appear here is because it's too high, it's too good. Moses was higher than any name. Like Ayin, Moses was higher. Rome is al etzem neshama. This is the essence of the soul, which is above any of the other names which are called to the soul. The soul is what's called nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and yechida. And Moses comes from the source of the essence of the soul, which is higher than all that, above even the level of yechida, which that's just the name of the soul. The zeu tochen, that's the main thing of the idea of the mazal of the Jewish people. The mazal of the Jewish people. We said, ein mazal Israel. There is no mazal of the Jewish people. That's what the mazal of the Jewish people is. Nothing. No. It's above anything. Etzem and neshama, the essence of the soul. This is the ayin. This is the month of Adar. What's the Rebbe trying to say over here? The Jewish people are totally different from any other being in the world. Just like the Holy Temple was totally different from any other building in the world. Totally different. It wasn't architecturally, unique or whatever, that it just, caught the eye and the people studied it in university or what it was. It was a place where God's revelation was. God just chose it that way. The same thing as Moses. Moses was just a person that he was totally united with God. It says, Ish Elokim. It says half of him was Ish and half of him was Elokim, Moses. And that's the truth of every Jew. Every single Jew is the son of God. Every Jew. B'ni B'chor Yisrael. My son, my chosen one, Israel. But Moses was the one who revealed this. According to this, now we can understand the connection of the birth of Moses to the holiday of Purim. Haman did not know that on the seventh day of Adar, Moses was born. Because under Rome we see Shekal Yamim, that all the days Shahaya B'nei Yisrael B'Sakana, all the time that the Jewish people were in danger because of the decree of Haman. Hayu Kulam Mechinas Mesiras Nefesh Mamash. How many days were the Jewish people in danger? 1 year. Haman threw lots, like on the first day of Nisan. He threw lots to determine when to destroy the Jewish people. And the lots came out in the month of Adar. In other words, 12 months later, 1 full year later. So he was very happy. He was very happy. He said, oh, now I can destroy the Jewish people. It came out in the month that there's no merit in the month of Adar. The zodiac fish, there's no merit. One fish eats the other one. Right? I'm going to eat up the Jewish people. Moses died in this month. Haman was happy. So he made a decree that on this day, 1 year from today, we're going to kill all the Jews. Kill all the Jews. Right? Now, the Jews knew about this. Originally, the decree was we're going to kill a certain people, but the Jews found out about it. The Jews found out about it, and because the Jews knew that they could get out of the decree by just saying we're not Jews. So 1 full year, they had to think about it. Listen, maybe we should say, the wife would say to the husband, listen, dear, maybe not me and you, but maybe just the kids. Maybe just tell the kids to say, they've got their whole life in front of them. right? Or grandma and grandpa would say, listen, I'm already old, but you say you're not Jewish. I will be the representative of the Jewish people, and I will go down fighting, with the Alamo, Davy Crockett or whatever it is, and you save yourselves, No, it says that the Alter Rebbe said not one Jew even thought to take that suggestion in the mind, to say I'm not Jewish. What type of a solution is that? That's like saying that we have a solution not to be killed. What? Well, they're going to murder us. What should we do? Let's kill ourselves. Like the story they say that happened on, what is it, on Masada. It happened. It didn't happen. Who knows? We don't want them to kill us. We'll kill ourselves. What type of a solution is that? Okay, maybe they were going to torture them. They were going to rape them. Okay, maybe there's a reason. And for the Jews to say, I don't want to get killed, therefore I'm going to deny my Judaism. It's like saying, I don't want to get killed, therefore I'm going to commit suicide. It was how do you say? It was impossible for them to even consider leaving their Judaism to save their physical life. Okay, now we have to understand, I think a basic thing is the source of there's really no such thing as death. The soul really never dies. The soul really never dies. The soul grows. Once there was a group of students from university students that went in the 50s. The Rebbe used to accept these groups of university students, and they could ask questions. So they were Jewish students. They didn't know anything about Judaism at all. Nothing, zero. They probably never saw a Jew with a beard. The only person they saw with a beard is probably Ulysses Grant or whatever it is on the $50 bill, whatever it is. And of course the Abraham Lincoln. But except that they never saw a Jew, right? Maybe in the movies they saw, could be Moses, I guess. But they didn't know anything. So they asked the Rebbe, does Judaism believe in life after death? And the Rebbe said, Judaism doesn't really believe in death. There's just different stages of life in the body, life outside of the body. So for a Jew to say, I'm not a Jew, is like denying the fact that the soul is eternal. In other words, I'm going to take my soul and say I'm not Jewish in order to what? To save what? What am I saving? Right? I'm going to save my body. I'm going to save. But a person has to have an awareness of his Jewishness in order to feel this. That's what's called Mesirut Nefesh. That's what's called giving away your soul. So to speak, my soul is not mine anymore. When my soul isn't in my body, it's my soul. But when I give it up, I'm giving away everything that what does it mean? When I wake up in the morning, so I wake up and I brush my teeth and I put on my shoes, and a person is dead, doesn't do any of those things. So I'm not the boss anymore. So that's called Mesirut Nefesh. They said, I'm willing to, I don't care what happens. I'm not going to go against God. I'm not going to go against the eternality of my soul. And you should know that if they would have said, we're not Jewish, they wouldn't have gotten punished. Because a Jew that does a sin under duress, so he's not punished for that sin. A Jew that worships idols because he's forced to, there's no punishment for that. Because it was forced. He didn't do it from his own free will. No, but nevertheless, the Jews, they knew all this, and they couldn't bring themselves. It was impossible. That was Mesirut Nefesh for one full year. Ki b'chol shah, every moment, haya muchanim, they were willing to give their lives to be killed and not to deny their Judaism. Mesirut Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem, that's called sanctifying your soul, giving your soul to sanctify God's name. Shari im ratzu, if they wanted just to say we're not Jewish, then Haman wouldn't have done anything to them. Shelo Gazar ala Yehudim. He only made a decree only on the Jews. Elishem Masu Atzmon, but they gave themselves to death. They were willing to die. Kol Shana, one full year. V'lo Allah b'lahem machshava. They didn't even think, God forbid, of doing otherwise. V'koach lazen, the power to do this was by means of Yizgalos etzem and neshama. Somehow or other, there was revealed the essence of their soul. Who reveals the essence of the soul of the Jewish people? In our case, Mordechai. Shezeu tokav inyan shel latest Moshe. That's the idea of the birth of Moses. Mordechai in his generation, that was the Moses of that generation. And Moses was born in the month of Adar, the revelation of Moses, the birth of Moses. Birth also means to be revealed. means that it was also the birth of the essence of what every Jew is. And we can say that this is also hinted at. It says that utter bari vatokif. It says that an utter it is healthy and powerful. The mazel. That the mazel, the essence of the Jewish soul, is in a way that it's powerful and strong. Not just that it's healthy, like it says, Gover Yisrael, like it says that the Jewish people, when they fought against Amalek and Moses lifted his hands up, then the Jewish people, they were victorious. Not that the Jews maintained, they survived, they held on to their Judaism. But rather, no, they conquered the opposite. They conquered all of their enemies. Since an utter misgaber Muslims Israel, since an utter the Jewish, the mazel of the soul of the Jewish people became powerful, that's the level of ayin, this level of ayin, ein sof, the infinite essence of the Jewish people, etzem neshama, the essence of the Jewish soul, suddenly became woken up. Azai then, mitgale, chozek, v'tokef, there was revealed the power and the victory, the power of victory, the defiance, bari v'tokef, of the essence of the soul. The kudas yadut, the essence of the soul in every Jew. The sheyesh b'chozek v'tokef, it's got the power and the strength to give its soul to sanctify God's name. For a person to conquer himself, that's the most difficult thing to conquer. Excuse me, I think I told you the story yesterday, but it's so very impressive. One of the releasing, the Hamas, may their names be blotted out forever, then they all burn in hell for all eternity, as they're releasing some of these Jewish prisoners that they took. So most of these people that they took, if not all of them, were not religious Jews before they were taken into captivity. This was a village, the Kfar Aza was a village which was devoted to making peace with the Arabs. They didn't want to separate themselves and be religious Jews. Anyway, so they took these Jews. So one of them was in a real bad shape, and it was in the cold, and he was hungry. And they said to him, if you just convert to Islam, we'll make things a lot easier for you. And he said, right, now this is a person that, let us say, I mean, I don't know the person, so please excuse me if I'm making a mistake, that Judaism made virtually, meant very little to him, if anything, beforehand. And now so he could say, okay, you know what, I'll say Allah Akbar, good, give me something to eat, give me a warm place, I'm dying over here. He said, I was born a Jew and I'll die a Jew. I'm not going to convert, not going to even say it, not going to even pretend. That's the same thing as Purim. Suddenly was revealed something in the essence of his soul. I mean, the man could die in another hour. Who knows, right? They didn't give him food. And he said that after he said that, they didn't give him food for 2 days. They didn't give him anything for 2 days. And he didn't break. No, Kevin, since the utter was increased, the power of the Jewish people, the power, the fortitude, the identity of the Jewish people, and therefore, and this month was given them as an extra impetus and inspiration to give their lives, even willing to give their lives and their very being for God. They refused to deny that they're Jewish. Just say 3 words. I'm not Jewish. That's it. You're saved. Not one Jew was willing to do it. It's also hinted at the name of the month. The name of the month is called Adar. The word Adar means to be strong, power. Adir b'marom, Hashem. Like it's powerful, like the rabbis say, harotza she'it kaim and nechasav. If a person wants to have good luck in his possessions, so he should plant in them an udder. An udder is the name of a tree. It's a lucky tree. Like it says, adir b'marom Hashem. It says, adir b'marom Hashem. It's a sentence in Psalms. Adir means high, powerful. Namely, that this month is stressed the power and the defiance, the victory of the Jewish people. That the Jewish people are called Adirim. They're called the elevated ones. Adirim Elu Yisrael. These are the Jewish people. Shene'amar, like it says, Adir kol cheftzibam. Like it says, it's elevated, all who desire them. Adir milashin chozek va'ometz, power and courage. Litchazek ba'avodas abora, to be strengthened in the service of God. kolel, and especially hachozik for omets of self-sacrifice with be'echad, into the oneness of God, which is above any sort of intelligence. It's above logic. According to this, now we can explain what it means that Adir says ein lo zechut. What Haman said when the lots came out on the month of Adar, said, "Wow, that's great because Adar has not got any zechut in lo zechut." We can say no. What it means is Adar hasn't got any merit because he thought Moses died, and the mazel fish also hasn't got any merit. After we found out that an Adar Moses was born, and because of that, the mazel of the Jewish people was increased. So Haman was right, but he just mistranslated the word "ein." Doesn't mean nothing. Ein means God. He's not a thing, the source of all being. Ein, God, He is the mazel. He is the zechut. He is the merit of the Jewish people. Then was revealed that the ein, the mazel of the Jewish people, is the ayin, is the essence of God. That's the merit of this month. And we can also add on the fact that Moses was born on the 7th day of Adar. What's the 7th day got to do with it? We'll talk about that, God willing, tomorrow.